Greetings, welcome to Live and Love with Laura. I am Laura Louise. Today I just wanted to talk about healing. Healing. It has been so nice to reconnect with clients and connect with new clients on this journey that we're on called life. I have so much love and compassion for people and where they're at today. So many people are confused and struggling, overwhelmed, anxious. There's a lot of coping mechanisms, a lot of times, drugs, alcohol, harmful habits towards self and others. And at the end of the day, people don't want that destruction for themselves or their life. They want to have better options. They just don't know what those options are. I know since I was a young kid that I was taught about brushing my teeth and taking care of my teeth. And that's not just when you go to the dentist, it's every day, 3 times a day. Most people will probably do it twice, once some people. We know that cleaning the teeth is maintenance for something of the physical body. We know eating certain foods helps create certain energy. We know exercising helps, and we know all of these things that help our physical body. But no one's ever actually sat us down and talked about the energy structure of our being, that the energy structure of our body is part of our physical body. A lot of times people will hear about chakras. People are aware of acupuncture, meridian points. They might have heard of the aura. Each of these energy structures are just one structure of that physical component of the energy structure. So aura is just one structure. Etheric, the soul body, the emotional, mental body. There's so many aspects of what makes up our energy structure. Most people know there's chakras. Most people know 7 chakras, but there's actually over 2,000 chakras in the body. It would be like, we know our physical body has skeleton. We know our physical body has veins. We know our physical body has skin. We know the organs. But if you were to explore just even one aspect of the physical body, you could have pages upon pages upon pages of information. If you were to just study the heart, for example, the cardiologist takes years to actually know the heart, all of its functions and dysfunctions, and how to support the heart to its fullest capacity. Expand now to the energy structure, which is part of our physical body, and nobody talks about it. Nobody teaches us. Nobody sits us down and throws up, a chart of the body and shows the energy structure. Unless you're sitting in Empower Thyself, I really don't know when else somebody sits down and actually hears, oh, this is your energy structure. That's why I always say Empower Thyself is like receiving the handbook to being human, because you learn so much about the mind and the body and the energy that makes up who we are. I have been working with clients on these multiple layers. There is the mental, the emotional, physical, and spiritual aspects that make up who we are. I just feel it's so important to just understand that if you are struggling with something, there are ways to heal it. I work with people who deal with a lot of mental health issues, anxiety, depression. I also work with people who have physical illnesses that the doctor will say, an X amount of time to live. Cancer diagnoses. A lot of times when people come through the door with cancer, there's so much that can be done to prevent getting to that point, but then there's so much that can be done to heal that point. Anytime somebody comes in and they say that they're diagnosed with cancer, stage 4 cancer, I will ask, do you want to heal this? Or is this your opportunity for closure? It seems like a really intense question to ask, an intense question to answer, but for the most part, people know the answer. I think on some level they're relieved that someone's going to ask that question. Because a lot of times in families want to push, you got to do everything to heal, you can't die. But sometimes people are just ready, like that's their time. But there's a distinct difference. Last year, I had 2 clients come in at the same time. They're both diagnosed with very similar diagnoses, cancer, and the certain type of cancer was very similar. I asked pretty much the same question to both of them, and one of them was like, oh, I definitely want to heal. I will do anything I need to do to heal. And the other one was like, I've been thinking about it, and I've had such a fulfilling life. I'm ready. Both can receive energy support at that time, but the process or the direction it goes is different. Supporting someone at end of care life looks different than supporting someone who is ready to set their will in motion to heal. this conversation or perspective might throw people off when it comes to dancing with death, because on some level we think we're not in control of that. We might not be in control of death per se, but we are definitely in control of life. How are you living your life? Are you living your life to the fullest? Are you taking care of this physical body to the best of your capability? Are you taking care of your mind? Are you taking care of your energy structure? There are so many things that we can do for prevention to support ourselves so that we don't get to that point. And there's some people who do absolute everything and still get to that point. So what is that about? Someone very close to me was like a health nut, extremely healthy, an extremely powerful athlete, ate all the right food, gave and supported other people. But there was this mental emotional component that was toxic to them. And eventually it manifested into cancer. There's some people who smoke packs upon packs and they don't ever get cancer. It's just interesting. The human body, the human psyche, the human experience is very, very interesting. I think it's best to do everything that you know that you can to help get to a place of optimal health, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual health. You do everything that you have control over and you have power over. And then when there's circumstances that come into your world, whether it's illness or disease or a challenge even, then you can look at it from that perspective of learning lessons, healing, and that you have your best self to address it. I am a huge advocate for suicide prevention. I know suicide usually is looked at as like an extreme, whether it's an overdose or hanging, trigger to the head. It's very extreme when we think of suicide death. But suicide, I believe, sometimes isn't always a quick instant death. Sometimes it's a long self-harm suicide. What we put into our body, how we think, how we live our life can be extremely self-harmful. But nobody looks at that as a form of suicide. Maybe it's extreme for me to think of it as a form of suicide. I'm not here to say there's a right or wrong. I'm just thinking, are we really taking care of ourselves to the best of our capabilities? Do we really learn about the body? Do we learn about the mind? Do we learn about the energy structure so that we can not just learn about it, but utilize it and take care of it in the best way that we can learn how to? I have so many people that walk through the door, and when it comes to cancer, I will ask, do you want to heal this? But when it comes to a temper or anxiety or depression or some other mental illness that comes up, I will ask, do you want to heal this? Many times people start to identify themselves with this illness as an aspect of who they are. I am depressed versus I am experiencing depression. Those are two very different perspectives. I am depressed. I identify with this as if it is me versus I am experiencing depression as if I am me and depression is something that I experience. Therefore, I can be aware of depression and do something about it. Very, 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 very different. Understanding that perspective will give you the power that you need to heal. It will give you the perspective and the insight to set your will and mind in motion to heal. Now, healing is a journey. There's never, ever one answer. You can't just come in through the door and, you have cancer, so let's just run through this list. There are many physical things you could do, certain foods you eat, oxygen, all of these different aspects of healing the physical, but you always have to address the mental and emotional, always. Even if you aren't diagnosed with an illness, do you feel fulfilled? Do you feel joy? Do you feel peace? It is our birthright to be in joy. It is our birthright to be in a place of peace. But we have all these experiences that start to stack up and interrupt that true nature of joy, peace, love. We want to start to look at that and start peeling back these layers so that we can fully be who we're meant to be and therefore create what we're meant to create while we're here in this physical experience. So I just wanted to share because I've been really inspired by some of my clients today and the decisions they're making for their health and well-being. Not easy decisions, especially when there's attachments to external substances or habits or belief systems that take over once in a while. But I do believe that people can make big decisions in their life that create huge changes. Blessings to you in your journey. I highly, highly recommend an energy session, especially after this quarantine COVID experience and the collective anxiety and anger and stress and overwhelm that's been happening. We are energetic beings and we overlap each other's energy structures. So even if you think you're solid, you might be exposed to other energies that might be affecting you. Definitely consider coming in for a session. The emotional cord cutting is a great session. Life activation is a full energy balance and lights you up. There's so many different modalities. Just reach out and we can have a conversation and see which one suits you best, because there's so many to choose from. And if not, that's okay too. Blessings to you and how you take care of your mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, energetic self, and blessings to your journey of healing.